All right, y'all, we're meal prepping during the Liverpool game, so the volume's off, but I can't be responsible for screaming and yelling here in the background.
I'm like, what in the world is he doing in here with this Liverpool scarf? It's like 90-something degrees
Reds
outside.
are playing, so the volume will be off, but I can't guarantee you won't hear me in the background.
Hey y'all, hey, Eric with Time to Shrink. Welcome back to another meal prep, y'all. Today we are going to do a whole lot of freezer prep. So let's get going, y'all. I don't know where my clipboard is, y'all. I literally just had it out so I could organize myself. Yeah, this is the kind of day I'm having. My clipboard was in the refrigerator, y'all. In the refrigerator. Earlier today, I got an item in the mail that I have zero recollection of ordering. And just now, my directions, my clipboard, my brain in the fridge. All right, now let's get started. All right, y'all, today I am a little bit ambitious. I'm gonna do a freezer prep and then we're gonna do some regular meal prep. So I've started setting stuff out. We're gonna make some cheeseburger bites. We are going to make some Greek style meatballs. We are going to make some stuffed green chili meatballs. We are going to use this chicken, which was not on my plan, but it was such a good price. It was $1.89 a pound. So we're going to stuff some chicken. We're going to, I don't know exactly, but we're going to do some fun stuff with chicken. And then I am going to use, last week, if you didn't see it, I'll link it up above, but last week we did a lot of pickled veggies. So I'm going to make a jalapeno popper chicken casserole, and I'm going to make a Greek stuffed chicken casserole, or I don't know if there'll be casseroles or just stuffed chicken. We shall see. So I've just kind of started setting everything out, and let's just jump right into it, y'all. First thing we're gonna do is go ahead and make some low-carb breadcrumbs because we are almost out, and if I have them pre-made, they can go into anything super, super easily. So the first thing we're gonna do is that, and then I also have some shrimp that I'm just gonna make up for the week. I need to go ahead and do that too because they're thawed. So this is not really freezer prep, but I need to get it done. All right, let's go. So I got a pound of wild caught shrimp and it was already deveined and everything. So I'm just gonna make this up to dip in cocktail sauce during the week. So I like to basically just gently poach it. I'm putting in, let me show you. I'm putting in this Fresh Jack's Fresh Bay seasoning. It's like Old Bay, but kicked up a notch and like 1,000 times better. It's so good. So I'm just sprinkling some of that in here, and I'm gonna bring this up, not to a boil, but just like over low medium, and basically just let them poach. Cause I hate overcooked shrimp. That's it. It literally will take less than 2 minutes, y'all. One of my favorite things to do in a food prep, especially on like a freezer prep day, or really anytime I run out, is to make my low-carb breadcrumbs. I call these my keto crumbs. They're in my cookbook. You can go get the exact recipe. But basically, I just make, I take this whole huge thing of plain pork rinds, something with just pork rinds and salt, no extra flavorings, because I don't want like the MSG or any of that stuff. So a ton of these, some green can Parmesan cheese. You don't need the good stuff for this, just the green can, and then nutritional yeast. The brand doesn't really matter for this either. Just get one that's non-GMO, in my opinion. But anyways, we're just gonna put these together and make a ton, and then I just store it in the freezer. So let's do that. Basically, I do this in batches, but first thing I do is a bunch of batches of pork rinds, y'all. I like to use my food processor. If you don't have one, you could put it in a bag and hit it with a rolling pin. But I'm just gonna pulse these until they're crumbs. Don't over pulse it. You want it to still have a little bit of structure to it. You don't want it to turn like, if you pulse it too far, they'll get almost like wet. You don't want that. You just want to break it up.
The dog heard the breadcrumbs going in and immediately ran into the kitchen for looking for scraps. She's like just sitting here waiting for something to fall.
Do you like pork rinds, baby girl? Would you like a pork rind? Sit. Sit.
Like it was like
wait.
She jumped off the couch
wait.
and was just poaching one.
Wait. Okay, go ahead. Good girl. So see here, they're crumbled. Just They look just like breadcrumbs. That's what you're going for, okay? And I'm just gonna process a bunch more and then we'll add the nutritional yeast and the Parmesan. So in my cookbook, I have exact measurements for y'all, but I have done this so many times now that I kind of just know. So I like to do it in a Ziploc bag. 2 parts pork rinds to 3/4 this to 1/4 this, basically is how it weighs out if you are measuring. And it's just easier to make it in bulk because it stores so well in the freezer. Or if you're only gonna have it out for like a week or so, you really could probably just store it as is in like a ball jar on your counter. You just want to shake it up really, really well until it's all mixed. I do not season this because I use it in so many different ways. So when I'm ready to actually use it, that's when I season it. So it just has these 3 ingredients and that's it. And then you can season it when you're ready to use it with Italian seasoning or Cajun seasoning or any seasoning that you want. Greek seasoning, only your imagination. You can go as far. What am I trying to say, y'all? The only thing stopping you would be your imagination. I don't know. Words are not my friend today, y'all. My mind is not my friend today, y'all. As you saw, I left my clipboard in the refrigerator. So yeah, basically we're just shaking them until everything is combined really well. Label them. There's a hole. That's where it's coming out.
You gotta be offside.
Right there. And apparently somebody's offsides, y'all. It's very upsetting. All right, y'all, the shrimp is done, maybe a little overdone because I got preoccupied with my hole in my bag. I think they'll be okay. I'm gonna drain these really quick and put them on some ice. I made the statement that I hate overcooked shrimp, and then I let it get to a boil instead of poached. I saw it the second it got to a boil, but I don't know if I saved it or not. I've got them in ice, cooling off, and then we'll taste it. Let's see. I'm gonna go ahead and taste one.
You gotta win something there.
Oh, good. They're not overcooked. There's nothing worse than rubbery shrimp, y'all. And then there was a hole in my Ziploc, so I've got pork rinds all over the freaking kitchen from shaking it. All that to say, when you make these in bulk, then you can use them a million different ways. So I'm just gonna get all the air out and I'm gonna put these in my freezer. We're probably gonna use some of these in a little bit. All right, let me clean up my pork rind disaster and I'll be back. All right, y'all. The Hummus Express, just choo-choo, all aboard. Oh my gosh, y'all. We're 5 minutes in today, and how many things have I messed up? I can't open this, y'all. Why? Why will this not? Oh, I got it. I wanted to jump in real quick and say welcome, welcome, welcome to any new subscribers. We've had quite a few lately, and I just wanted to say hi and introduce myself. My name is Erica. I have lost over 100 pounds with the ketogenic diet. I've been eating a keto way of life for over 2 years now, and it just is something that I plan to do for a lifetime. We do a lot of keto family meal preps around here. We do what's for dinner, we do grocery hauls, we do what I eat in a day, all kinds of stuff. So if you enjoy this or you think that you'll enjoy any of those types of videos, I would love to have you stick around. I would love it if you would take a second and hit that like button. Either like or don't like, either one would be fine. And if you do put a negative, not a negative, what is this?
Dislike.
Dislike. If you do punch the dislike, I would love for you to leave me a comment and let me know what you are not liking. And if you press the like, I would love for you to leave me a comment and let me know what is your favorite part of what we're doing here. And the last thing I wanted to say real quickly was we have a new series every Friday night called Time to Drink. It's a lot of fun. It's keto or low carb cocktails. We are having so much fun. We're doing everything from the 1920s prohibition to tiki to drinks that we've made up. We have a keto cocktail book coming out, I'm hoping by the end of this month. So we would love to have you every single Friday night at 6 p.m. We have a new Time to Drink episode. All right, y'all, the first thing we're gonna do is this I've never made before, and I don't know what I'm gonna call it. Kind of like a jalapeno popper casserole, but I'm using green chilies, not jalapenos. I don't think these are jalapenos. Whole green chilies. Do you think these are jalapenos, Chat? It just says whole green chilies. So the idea is I'm going to lay some enchilada sauce. Well, you know what? I'll just show you. Let's just do it. The first thing I'm doing is taking these huge, massive pieces of chicken and cutting them right through the middle so that they are thinner. Okay, I thought I'd show y'all how I cut up these massive pieces of chicken. So it's one breast. When you flip it over, you can see that it has this whole tenderloin on this side. So the first thing I do is I cut the tenderloin off, and we'll use the tenderloins for something else. So set that over there. And then if there's anything I want to just cut off, I'll do that. And then what I do is I place my hand, fingers up. You don't want to cut yourself. Fingers up. And then I just take my knife. This works even better if your chicken is a little bit frozen. We just slide it through like that. And it takes that really thick chicken and makes 2 fillets out of it. So I'm just gonna finish up doing that, and then we'll start making our casseroles. So there are 4 carbs per 1/4 of a cup of this. So I'm just spreading this enchilada sauce around the bottom of the pan. 1 stick of cream cheese, 1/2 cup of sour cream. We're gonna get this mixed together really well. We are going to add a little bit of Smoky Southwest seasoning from Fresh Jack's. Straight to that, I'm going to add 1 cup of diced bacon, and we're just gonna get this mixed really, really well. So I'm gonna season all of my chicken real quick. I'm using the Smoky Southwest by Fresh Jack's. You could use taco seasoning from Fresh Jack's, any kind of taco seasoning that you would like. What this has in it, y'all, is corn, paprika, cumin, cracked black pepper, onion, salt, garlic, oregano, cherry smoked sea salt, cayenne, and smoked chili flakes. And it's all organic. And I just really, really like this one. This is my favorite taco type seasoning, but you can use whatever you want. You obviously don't have to use Fresh Jack's. If you're interested in trying Fresh Jack's, I always have it listed below with a 15% off discount code for you. But basically, I like to season it every step. So I'm just flipping this chicken all around until it's seasoned all over really, really well. Then we're just gonna come over here and we're going to place our chicken in the bottom of our pan. I like to do this in these thinner layers like this because it takes less time to cook. If you didn't want to cut your chicken in half, your time in the oven would just be longer, is really the only difference. Okay, so we're gonna get those guys all in there. The next thing we're gonna do is take our cream cheese, sour cream, bacon mixture. We're gonna spread this out all over our chicken, y'all. You could also put some cheddar cheese right in this mixture if you wanted. I didn't feel like we needed it. But again, this is one of those 5-minute prep recipes. It literally takes about 5 minutes to put this together. Even shorter if you don't wanna cut your chicken. Or if you bought chicken tenders, you could do this with chicken thighs, whatever. I'm gonna go ahead and use all of it. These are not split yet down the side, so you have to split it, but that's really cool because you could stuff them and do like a chili rellenos super easily because you didn't have to roast them and pull the outside off. But our plan is I'm just going to open them and cover all of the chicken. That is it, that simple. We're just gonna open them so that it lays flat and cover our chicken. If you wanted to, you could have put a layer of these underneath the chicken too. That would have probably been good because we have all of these left. So we're gonna have to come up with something else with these. Next time, I think I would put a layer of them under the chicken. All right, I'm just gonna take a 1/4 cup of this enchilada sauce and just spread her all over. I'm just gonna use my fingers just to give a little bit more of that flavor. And then we're gonna top it with some shredded cheese. So just enough to cover it fully, probably about a cup. And then at this point, you can freeze this whole entire casserole and cook it another day. You could cook it straight from frozen, or you could thaw it, or you could cook it tonight. Now I'm gonna make some Greek and goat cheese stuffed chicken. So what I do is I take off, just like before, I take off the little tenderloin part, and then I use my knife and slice right down the middle, but you wanna make a pocket. So you don't wanna go all the way through. So see, we're just making a pocket where we're almost all the way through, but not quite. So basically you're butterflying it. All right, so what I have in here is 1 log of goat cheese and a little bit, probably about 2 ounces of cream cheese and a little bit of bacon. It's just what was left from the last casserole. And then we added the goat cheese basically. So I'm getting that all stirred up, and I'm gonna have Jack throw in a good bit, probably like a tablespoon worth of Greek seasoning. Get this all combined. Okay, y'all, we're gonna make this stuffed chicken, but then I'm gonna put this bread keto crumbs on the outside. So I put about a tablespoon of the Greek seasoning right in there. And I just have that set to the side ready. We've got our goat cheese, cream cheese, and bacon with some Greek seasoning here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our butterfly chicken and we're going to just stuff it with however much you want. You also could stuff, you know what, y'all? I think we're gonna put a piece of prosciutto in this or wrap it in the, We're just gonna leave it like this because it's got some bacon in there. As much or as little as you want. And if you wanted to shut it, you could shut it with some toothpicks. It'd be better if it was in a little bit bigger container, but this is what I have right now. All right, y'all, because you know I'm Hot Mess Express today, I totally forgot to put my sweet peppers in with our cream cheese and goat cheese mix. So we're just, however much you want, we're just gonna, I would have put this in and mixed it with the goat cheese, but I forgot. So I'm just gonna open each one of these and throw some of these peppers in. These are pickled peppers. They're pickled sweet peppers that I made last week in meal prep. But you can also buy these at the store. You don't have to make your own. We just felt like trying it out. I'm gonna take, this is just some butter, and I am going to put butter over the top of each piece of chicken. You also could do egg wash. If you don't wanna use butter, you could paint it with some egg and heavy cream. And then I'm gonna take these breadcrumbs and just kind of stick it to the top. This is my lazy way of breading the chicken. If you wanted, you could seal this chicken up with toothpicks really well and bread it on both sides, and then you could put it in the air fryer to cook it. But we are going to do it in such a way that this can be frozen. So we can freeze this at this point just like this and then bake it from frozen. But like I said, you could have taken this, each piece, and only filled it enough that you were able to fully close it, and then egg wash it and then dip it on both sides in the breadcrumbs and have a fully breaded chicken. But we are taking the easy way out. Again, here's a less than 5-minute meal prep. Always wash your hands, y'all. Wash, wash, wash in between everything. I don't usually show you that. I usually cut this part, but always wash your hands. And can y'all see my pretty flowers? Look at these pretty flowers I got today at Lidl. They're so pretty. I love them. Gerber daisies and just so pretty. The next thing we're gonna do is make a few different kinds of meatballs. The first one we're gonna do is like a Greek and feta meatball, and I am so wishing that I had some lamb. That these would be amazing with lamb. I don't have lamb, so we're just gonna use grass-fed beef. It's fine. You could use pork, you could use chicken, you could use turkey, whatever. So I have 2 pounds of grass-fed beef, and I've got, this is roasted garlic that I made last week, and I'm just gonna take a big scoop of roasted garlic, about a tablespoon. And then also last week we made pickled veggies. This is a bunch of different pickled veggies, but this is pickled sweet peppers. So I took half a cup of those and I minced them up pretty small. We're gonna put those in. They taste so good, y'all. Oh my gosh. We are going to take our keto crumbs and put half of a cup, and we are going to take 2 eggs, drop those babies right in here, and then I'm gonna take an entire block of feta for 2 pounds of meat. This is 8 ounces of feta. And you could buy the pre-crumbled, but I just think that it tastes a little better when it comes as a block like this. So I'm just gonna crumble that right in here. And then of course, I got my hands all messy before I put the Greek seasoning in. So Jackson, come over and help for a second. I also have just a little bit of feta left from something else. So I just wanna use it up and get it out of the fridge. So we're throwing that in there. Okay, open the other side because you're gonna do it like a full tablespoon. That's good. We may end up, actually give me more. This is probably gonna be 2 tablespoons because we're really seasoning a good bit. Okay, that's good. And then give me some of these chopped onions right here. You could use fresh onions, but we're just gonna use about a tablespoon of dehydrated, really probably 2 tablespoons of dehydrated onion. And then we're gonna do some salt and pepper, Jack. The point that I was trying to do was put everything in here that didn't get messy and then start messy, but of course I can't keep it together, y'all. So Jack's giving me some pepper, probably good. Now give me some salt. Again, you don't need a lot of salt because feta is on the salty side, so that's probably good, Jack. You also could add some dill straight into this, but I think we're just gonna stick with the Greek seasoning. And then you just wanna get everything mixed very well, but you don't want to overly mix it because you can end up with tough meatballs or tough meatloaf. Whatever you want to do, meatballs are going to take a little bit longer than meatloaf, obviously. But I was just kind of in the mood to make a bunch of frozen meatballs, and then we can pull them out and cook them in the air fryer whenever we want to. Is kind of what I had in mind. So once you start getting this all together, you can decide if you feel like it needs more of anything. Oh, that's a big piece of feta, actually. I think I'm gonna put a few more keto crumbs in. So Jackson, if you'll come give me, just put your hand in there because this is messy. Just put your hand in there and get me a hand, small hand. There we go, that's good. So about another 1/4 of a cup of keto crumbs. Just because this is feeling a little bit too wet to me. And we want to make sure that our meatballs hold together, right? So, all right, y'all, I just sat here and made all these meatballs. I put them on a parchment lined baking sheet, and we're just gonna flash freeze them. And what that means is we're just gonna take them just like this and put them in our outside freezer. Once they're frozen, I'll put them in a Ziploc, a freezer safe Ziploc, label it, and then we'll have them. Probably how I will cook these is in the air fryer straight from frozen. So if someone wants 2 or 3 meatballs, they can do that. Or if we want to pull them out as a meal, we can do that. I like to flash freeze them first. So this one's done, and now we're gonna make the next meatball. We are gonna use what we have left of the enchilada sauce and the chilies and make some enchilada style, either meatloaf or meatballs. I don't know yet. Let's see. All right, next I decided we're gonna make a meatloaf because I have all this red enchilada sauce and I don't wanna waste it. I could freeze it, but we're just gonna go with it. So I think I'm gonna go with 1/3 of a cup, and we'll see if we end up needing any more. It's a good place to start. I've got 1.5 cups of my keto crumbs. I'm using a meatloaf mixture for this, and what a meatloaf mixture is just part beef, part pork, and part veal. It's usually equal parts each. So we're gonna go with that. And then I am going to use an entire can of chopped green chilies. So we're going in with that. And then I'm gonna use about 1 tablespoon per pound of this Smoky Southwest, so probably about 2 tablespoons. 1, 2, again, you could use taco seasoning. You could use a combination of like cumin and oregano, whatever you want. You don't have to use Fresh Jacks. I get some questions about that sometimes. If I don't have Fresh Jacks, how can I follow your recipes, Erica? And you do not have to use the same exact spice I do in order to have something turn out very, very similar. You can get a million different brands of taco type seasonings. These just happen to be my favorite, and I didn't buy them all at one time. I bought a little bit at a time. What I do is buy my favorites and then stock up slowly. If you just get a few a month as you need to replace some of your own things, if you'd like to try them, that's a way to do it. Or just use what you like. There's like I said, so many kinds of spices, but these are something that I use. They're my favorite. I think they make my food taste better than what I had previously used. I used to pretty much rely on one called Penzeys, and I still think that's a great spice company, but this one, I think maybe it's because they're small batch, because they're a local family company. They don't make it in a massive bulk. It always tastes super fresh. I don't know if I'm right about that theory, but I think maybe that's part of why it's so, so good. Anyways, 2 tablespoons of that. We're gonna go in with 2 eggs. I knew I had some red onions that I wanted to use up, so I'm just gonna toss those in there. This is about 1/4 of a cup of red onion. You could use yellow onion, you could use green onion, you could use some dehydrated onion, whatever. And then garlic. Usually, y'all, I have a little bit more of an exact plan, but today's freezer prep, I wasn't exactly sure what I was going to be making. I had a couple ideas, and then we're just kind of rolling with it. Sometimes it just works out that way. So, getting these eggs broken up. And again, every time you make a meatloaf or meatballs, you just want to do enough to combine it, but not overly so. If you mess with it too much, you can make it a little overly tough. So, you know, just roll with it, see what works for you. You also could put some, this is a little wetter than I was expecting it to be. So I think we're going to go in with another half a cup of breadcrumbs. Now give me some of that Mexican cheese. I think we're going to go right in with the cheese. Give me 2 handfuls of cheese. This is going to be about a cup of cheese. That's about half a cup, and then 1 really big handful. Okay, thank you. So about a cup of cheese to incorporate. At first I wasn't sure if I was going to put the cheese, stuff it in the middle of the meatloaf, or I was going to put it all the way through. But I think we're going to just go all the way through, because the enchilada sauce did make it a little wetter, and yeah, it feels right now. So at this point, you can cook this meatloaf. You could just move it over onto parchment lined paper and cook it, or you could form it into meatballs and cook them, or you could form it into whatever you want, whatever size you want, and freeze it. We're doing freezer prep today, so what I'm going to do is make some mini meatloaves, almost like football-shaped meatloaves that are small enough that could be cooked in the air fryer or the oven. And we're going to flash freeze them in this shape. And then we will put them into freezer-safe bags and keep them for when we're ready to use them. I'm just going to take a little bit of this enchilada sauce. I'm just going to use my fingers. You could use a paintbrush and just paint it on the top. It'll freeze on, oops. It'll freeze on there, and it'll just give it a little bit of extra flavor. So we're just gonna do that with each one. I'm gonna put this in my outside freezer, flash freeze them. Once they're completely frozen, we'll wrap each one individually and put them in freezer safe bags. All right, next thing we're gonna do is make some Italian meatballs, or we can make meatloaf. I think I'm gonna go with meatballs this time. So I've got the same meatloaf mix. I've got about 1/4 of a cup of cooked red peppers. I just kind of sauteed them just until they were soft. Throw that out of there. Okay, so for this, we're going to go in with about a tablespoon of roasted garlic, 2 eggs, and I've been saying a cup and a half of breadcrumbs when really I meant that I used 3/4 of a cup and then went up from there. So I apologize for the confusion on that. But this is 3/4 of a cup, which is what I actually started with on those other ones. Okay, I'm gonna take this garlic and herb seasoning. I'm gonna do about 1/2 tablespoon of that. And then we're gonna do about 2 tablespoons of Italian seasoning. Again, I'm using Fresh Jack's, whatever Italian seasoning blend you find that you like. And we are just gonna get in there with our hands and get this all mashed up together. So this feels a little bit wet to me, y'all. So I'm gonna have Jack give me another 1/4 cup of breadcrumbs. So that's gonna be a cup total. And this is just a very plain meatball recipe. Very, very straightforward meatballs. You could turn it into a meatloaf if you wanted, but we're going with meatballs. Once it gets really well combined and it doesn't feel wet to your hands, then you know you're where you want to be. And with any meatball or meatloaf, the best way to know that you've seasoned it properly is when you get it to this stage, take a little hunk, just a tiny hunk, and make yourself a baby meatball. Cook your baby meatball on your stovetop and taste it when it's cooked. If it tastes good, you know you're good. If you feel like it needs some salt or some pepper or more seasoning, then you'll have found out before you cooked this whole thing. So it's always smart to do that. Sometimes I don't take the time because I'm just used to how I do it, but it's always safer, always smarter to do that, y'all. So what I'm gonna do for these Italian meatballs is I have a bunch of these fresh mozzarella balls. They're like this size. So I'm gonna take some of the meatloaf mixture. I'm gonna put my mozzarella ball in the middle, and I'm gonna form a meatball around it like that, just so nothing's showing. So these will be a little bigger. And then I'm gonna put them right down here, and we're gonna flash freeze them just like we did the other ones. And that wraps up meal prep, y'all. That is all we're gonna do for freezer meal prep this week. I hope you got some ideas. Any of these things could be made as a regular meal prep, but they're all things that freeze really, really well. So if you have a day that you just want to do a lot of freezer prep to save yourself steps later down the road, all of these things would work really, really great for that. All right. Bye, y'all. Be blessed.